Hi, today we're going to talk about strings in CoffeeScript, which is the programming language that I've been using for the lessons so far. I'm going to jump in right away with a quick example. So I've written a program here that just has one statement, console.log hello. When I run it, you see that hello shows up in the console on the right-hand side of your screen, the black part of your screen. And so I'm basically introducing a new data type to you, but before I describe it in more detail, I'm just going to flesh out this example a little more. So console.log hello, the next thing you might say is how are you? Then somebody else might say I am fine, and then they might say goodbye. So when I run this program, I expect these four statements to each basically output a chunk of text to the screen, and that's exactly what happens. Okay, so I want to contrast this with some other types of things that we've done before. So earlier we were learning that computers can do arithmetic, so you can say something like console.log 5 times 3, and this 5 times 3 is actually an expression that CoffeeScript will evaluate, and it'll print it to the screen. So each of these individual numbers are actually expressions as well, and maybe a way to make that more clear would be to use like a variable. So like let's say I'm calculating the area of a triangle, and I've got a base of 5, a height of 12, and then I want to say base times height over 2. I run that program just to make sure it works. It does. Each of these individual value or parts of the expression are expressions themselves, and they each have a data type. And in this case, the data type is a number. You could be more precise and say that the data type's an integer, but we're not going to make very fine distinctions yet. The thing that we are going to distinguish is that the two major data types that we've learned about so far are arithmetic expressions and this new concept that we've introduced today called strings. Okay, and so different data types have different properties. So to give you an example of, let's say that we have two values that are number types. When we add them together, as you would expect, actual integer addition happens. 5 plus 3 is 6, 7, 8. That's how you get 8. When you add two things that are strings together, like hello plus world, you might be able to guess what happens. Basically, they just get concatenated. So they get smushed together. And so one important thing to note, let me scroll down a little bit, is that CoffeeScript doesn't really know about English, so it doesn't realize that these are like two words. And when we type things in English, we separate them with a space. But CoffeeScript doesn't really understand English natively, so we have to supply the extra space like that. And let's say that we had two words that we were joining together. So like let's say that we had a greeting, which in our country might be goodbye, and then we have a person whose name might be Fred. If we want to say goodbye Fred, then of course we could do this, but that kind of defeats the purpose of using the variables. So what we can do instead is say greeting plus comma space plus person. Let me expand this window a little bit, and let me reduce the font. Okay, you should be able to see it now. So when I run this program, well, let's just run it and then we'll describe what happened. It's a pretty simple program. I assigned the value goodbye, which is a string data type, to greeting. And then I assigned another value, which is a string called Fred, to person. And then this is a comment, which is not interpreted by the computer. This is just ignored by the computer, and it expresses my intention. And then finally, this expression here, greeting plus, let me highlight the whole thing. This expression here, greeting plus comma space plus person, all becomes goodbye Fred. And I can show you some examples in the console. So if I have A plus B plus C, as you would expect, they get concatenated together. And then if I assign D to a variable called maybe fourth letter equals D, then I can say ABC plus fourth letter, and the CoffeeScript will know that fourth letter is a variable that holds the value D that is a string data type, and so it'll do the thing that makes sense for strings. I think that's all I'm going to talk about today. I really just want to give you a brief introduction to strings, and I guess the one thing that I didn't mention, just because it's kind of habit to me having programmed for a while, is that you put all strings in quotes. So these quotes aren't actually part of the value. The quotes are part of the syntax of the programming language that tells CoffeeScript that these characters in here make up are part of the string of the value that CoffeeScript needs to save as the greeting. Okay, thank you.